Hey everybody, welcome back to Art by Galen. I'm Galen Eilenfeld, and today in Art Workouts we're going to show you how to do this fancy piece of carved wood that you see over on the left side of your screen. So if we jump straight into it here, you can see I'm starting off with the basic sphere shape, similar to how we did the cube. I've got it already kind of rendered out as far as like where my light source is going to be coming from, and so what I'm doing here is I'm tinting it to kind of match my reference that you see here. I've got this piece of carved wood that I really liked. So I'm using that photo as a reference for what I'm going to create here. And so what I'm doing now is I'm taking a slightly darker color and I'm brushing over some indications of some wood grain, different like kind of curved lines, and then even simulating the little knot work that kind of happens in wood. And so I've got those in, and what I'm doing now is I'm just roughly outlining this sort of filigree style pieces that are going to be carved into the wood itself. And I want to give the impression that these carved pieces are sort of raised off of the sphere. And so after we get these drawn in, we'll start working on building up the highlights and shadows around these pieces. Also like to take a moment to thank you for checking out this video. If you'd like to join my Discord community, there's a link down in the description. Currently, we've got people participating in Inktober, and we do various other art challenges, and plus it's just a nice, calm, chill place to hang out with other artistically minded folks, which is fun. Okay, so now we're kind of brushing in some of the highlights and shadows for this piece, and following that light source coming from that top right side, sort of from the front of the sphere. And now I'm kind of trying to figure out like the dimensions of everything, and we're going to take a new layer on top of it and kind of darken up the entire thing and then erase out some highlights, and just to kind of bring that carved piece forward. And yeah, that's having kind of the effect that we're wanting to. And we'll erase some of that out so it's a more smooth blend to give it not so much like we don't want it to look like it's two different types of wood, but just that the highlight is hitting this much harder. And so now we're taking some lighter colors and doing in more closer to white highlights, not quite white, but much lighter than the rest of the image, because I want to give this piece the impression, I want this texture to look like it's polished, like it's very shiny. So we're doing that, and then we will sharpen up all the other things. And now we're taking a lighter color and just kind of adding some highlights within that wood grain pattern that we drew in earlier. You can offset that on those raised pieces to kind of reinforce the fact that it is, two different levels. One's a little bit higher, one's a little bit lower. Also keep in mind that these highlights will be brighter in the area that's lit. And so now we're adding in the same wood grain texture, but in the darker shadowed areas, and also around the knot in the wood grain. And from here, we're going to add a little bit of an underglow, like kind of a backlight, almost a rim light, but it's a little bit more than a rim light. And so we start off on the very edge and just kind of blend it inward. And the reason I like doing this kind of stuff, it makes the piece stand out. Just overall, it makes it a little bit more interesting to look at. And then we're going to take a new layer and brighten up those highlights. What I like to do is I take a new layer, I set it to linear dodge, and then I take a darker, kind of a dark red color, and I very lightly brush that on top of whatever it is that I want to highlight, and it gives it kind of a warm light, which is really nice. And then I erase out those areas that are in the shadows, and then I come back in and then fine-tune all the highlights and everything by hand. And so there you have it. I hope you enjoyed this art workout. I hope you try it for yourself. Remember, the only way that you're going to get better at what you want to do is by doing it. Don't be afraid of the results. Don't let fear control your decisions. Don't let it cripple you and make you stop working. Accept that we're going to fail at times. We're going to succeed at times. But ultimately, the only way we're going to get better is to keep doing it. So with that, I'd like to thank you for hanging out. Thanks for checking this video out. I hope you have a fantastic day. And until next time, keep creating and take care.